people of Baramulla in Kashmir have come out in record numbers to cast their ballot. 54% of the voting population came out today to vote. The last time around this region saw people coming out and voting in such large numbers was in 1984, when there were 61.09% of the voters who cast their ballot. It was in 1996 elections that the turnout in Baramulla was 46.65%. There has been a similar phenomenon that has also been witnessed in Srinagar this time around. There were 36% of the voters who came up to vote, a departure from the measly single-digit turnout that the constituency was used to previously. A lot has changed in Kashmir in the last 5 years, and this surely is a sign of the good things to come in Kashmir. Let's understand this better. And can we truly call this a phenomenon that takes forward the plan, the idea, the aspiration of building a Naya Kashmir, a better Kashmir, a more prosperous Kashmir? Joining me on the telecast is SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. And Mr. Vaid, when we tally the numbers and take a look back at the comparisons that get drawn from 1996, 1998 and at this point of time 2024, where the numbers at this point of time are slowly inching towards what used to be a normal. So when we compare the Baramulla figures from 1998 and 1984, where as many as 62% of the people would come out and vote, and what happened in the span of the last 40 years, that it has taken us this long for people to step out of their homes, come out and stand in queues and cast their vote and be able to reach the mark of 54%, which is still 10% lesser than what it was in 1984.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me here. The record of last 30 years was 61%, and up to 5 p.m., 55%. Today's voting is like any other national average, and it's a huge, I think, broadcast in favor of democracy. And let me mention here, there are a change in ground realities on many fronts. Number one, I recall when I was DIG Baramulla in one of the elections, there used to be active participation of the separatist people of Hurriyat background, going openly campaigning against, discouraging people to vote, campaigning against participating in democracy, and that used to have a lot of impact on people, and that thing is now not seen on the ground. Number two, the fear factor which was there amongst the people, that to a very large extent has been removed. Though we had an incident yesterday also, a terror incident. I think 2 incidents happened yesterday, but still that fear factor which was there, that if you go for polling, you are being watched, you will be targeted. That is not seen on ground today because of change in ground realities. The pelting, whether it's a stone pelting or other terrorist incidents, there's a lot of change in the. And another important factor which I would like to mention is the role of internet, role of social media. People are seeing what is happening in POK. People are seeing how people of Pakistan and POK are being denied basic democratic rights, which in fact is one of the biggest grouse of people of the POK, what they call Azad Kashmir. I call them actually the Ghulam Kashmir. And our people are watching all this the sentiment of people across. And I think all these factors have a lot of impact.
You know, also, you know, my colleague who was on the ground in Baramulla, and he was speaking to the voters who came out, and they may be against abrogation, they may be pro-abrogation, every single one spoke about how they wanted development and progress of Kashmir. In fact, there were these 40-year-olds who had come out and spoken to us and said that this is the first time that he is voting in his entire life. So a
Yes.
40-year-old, a 50-year-old coming out and voting for the first time,
Yes.
and
See,
they're saying now that they do not have the fear of being attacked, of being pelted, of being pressurized, and therefore they're able to
yeah.
come out and freely speak their mind, come out and vote and exercise their franchise.
Absolutely. And see, people may give it a different color. I was hearing Mr. Omar Abdullah saying that this is a vote against abrogation of Article 370. I was also hearing Mr. Sajad Lone claiming that this is against dynastic politics. That is individual interpretation. But the fact remains that is the beauty of Indian democracy. All shades of opinion can be accommodated in this democracy. You may be somebody wanting voting against abrogation of Article 3 doesn't matter. Indian democracy doesn't prohibit anybody voting for that. So let it be whatever interpretation you do. The mere fact that people participated without fear and without any
without any untoward incident that took place in Baramulla today, the entire day. There were police security, there were personnel, there were the polling booth officials who were standing over there, keeping guard, and people were coming in and out freely and casting their vote. Fair enough. Sujata Bashir, spokesperson of the DAP, and Sujata, how do you view, being a resident of Kashmir, have things changed in the last 5 years? What we are seeing, whether it is it in Srinagar or we talk about Baramulla, is there a palpable change on the ground that people at this time are coming out and voting? Why was it not happening? Why was it not happening 5 years ago? What may have been the reasons?
So there's a drastic change about the elections. 5 years back, there was a kind of threat. You can say it from the militancy or from these Hurriyat leaders or from ABCD, whosoever it was. But the people understand it. They understand it late, but they understand it that if we are not going to cast the vote and it's not going to change anything, it's not going to stop the world to move on. It has to go on. So definitely they want that there should be a change, there should be a proper government in the Jammu and Kashmir who will listen to the people, who will have at least that there should be a proper government. The people are really in a manner of haphazardic manner. Everything is in a haphazardic manner, but they want that the elections should happen. It was earlierly from all the parties that why you are not doing the elections in Kashmir. But definitely this is a change. After Article 370, or you can say it that after the BJP comes, the changes are there. The changes are there, but it needs a lot of changes still to come up. Like the people who are inside the jails, they have been misused. Especially the youth, they have been misused by the name of jihad, by the name of that hame ji azadi milegi. What kind of azadi? The people who tell them that azadi, they are this time saying nahi hamari galti ho gayi, hame maaf kariye, hame bhi participate karne dijiye elections mein. So the people want that there should be a proper government, and it's a very good thing that they understand it, but bit late, but they understand it that we want a government here.
All right. Ejaz Hussain, senior BJP leader elected to the DCC in Srinagar. Ejaz, how do you view the situation? The fact that, does it matter whether the BJP has fielded its candidates or not? It has not fielded in Baramulla or Srinagar in 3rd constituency in Kashmir. But is this the fact that people are able to come out? They are not fearful for their lives. Whether they may be criticizing abrogation 370 and the government of India, or they are in favor of it. Nonetheless, they are able to air their views. They are able to air their views without any fear. Is this a change that we are seeing on ground?
The people of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the people of North Kashmir, who have come out in good numbers, and it's a record-breaking voting right now. It shows the commitment. It shows that the people of Jammu and Kashmir were changed and post-abrogation of Article 370. The way governance has been done over in Jammu and Kashmir, and especially our Honorable Prime Minister and HM sir looking directly over in Kashmir. What I personally feel is it's a progress, it's a change. Yeah, a bit of late because in last elections it never used to happen because they never had trust on political setup or democratic setup. It is definitely the win of democracy. Yeah, it's true that we are not contesting over in 3 seats of Kashmir division. But we are very happy with how people came out and voted in good numbers. It's not about who is winning, but at the end of the day, it is democracy which is winning in Jammu and Kashmir, especially Kashmir, which has seen many turmoils in the past.
Right.
Couple of days there was attack against our 2 tourists and 1 BJP worker. And despite that attack and all, nothing stopped from voting, coming out and polling approximately 50% and above. So it's a good sign, and people are realizing that terrorism can only be defeated by ballot. There is no other alternative. So I must congratulate all whole Jammu and Kashmir, especially North Kashmir people who have come out in good numbers and voted for democracy.
Okay, Amit Raina, now where do we go from here? We have seen that we saw that the first thing, the onset of change that we witnessed on the ground, opening up of cinemas and theatres, the stone pelting that completely came to a halt. There were jobs that are offered, the youth were being recruited into the army and the police forces. There is investment that has poured in, crores and crores of rupees that have been brought in by the government of India by way of schemes and investment projects. Now that you have, and the kind of narrative that continues to be peddled by certain individuals, by politicians, talking about how abrogation of 370 was not a good thing for Srinagar, for Kashmir, how people's voices, of the people of Kashmiri voices have been subdued, have been suppressed. Is this a reality check? Do these numbers speak for themselves? Would the National Conference, the PDP, other such leaders, other such politicians now will they be able to now criticize Article Abrogation 370?
See, today's election, the numbers in Srinagar constituency's election numbers have sent clear message that one, abrogation of Article 370 has brought positive change to Jammu and Kashmir. Look at the numbers today. Almost 60% of voting percentage. What is more important is that half of the voters were women, and you could see women in large numbers coming out to vote in North Kashmir. The participation of women in last 30 years, hardliners in Kashmir, the Pakistan in Kashmir has tried to do everything, including subjugating women. And today we have seen women coming out in large numbers. It is also a slap on Pakistan by people of Kashmir who said कि बस बहुत हो गया, अब आप जो करना चाहें करें, हम अपना वोट का हक डाल कर रहेंगे. Attacking tourists, killing a former punch was a message being sent to the voters that don't participate. And people have defied Pakistan also today. It is another important thing which has come out of it is that people of Jammu and Kashmir are now willing to get up and fight for their aspirations. And it is so because if you look at the number of candidates in both in Srinagar as well as in Baramulla, more than 20 candidates, 22 candidates contesting from Baramulla, which includes women. And because they realize that traditional parties, the parties which come from a dynastic background, are not willing to speak the new narrative. So they want, the people themselves want to be the change they want to see. And that is why to fulfill their aspirations, they are willing to contest elections, bring in the change they want to see. This is a message which is being sent out to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, the politicians, that आप अगर हमारी बात नहीं करेंगे, आप हमारी तरक्की की बात नहीं करेंगे, आप हमारे अमन की बात नहीं करेंगे, अगर आज भी आप वो 70 साल पुराना रोना चाहते हैं, तो sorry, we know how to do it ourselves. And that is exactly the message. It's a slow change because fighting an election is not an easy thing. But to me, the bigger step that has been taken today is that people are willing to take that challenge and bring that change into society.
Okay.
So very, very welcome positive sign that has come out of Kashmir today.
SP Ved, now, what's the next step? Now, there is a continuous demand that there needs to be statehood that needs to be reinstated in Jammu and Kashmir. Assembly elections need to take place in the valley. Is Jammu and Kashmir ready now that it becomes a state, that the administration is able to take care of its situation, of its administration and management, and there now does not need a need appear for the government of India, for the centre to keep overlooking?
Absolutely, the state is ready. In fact, it is high time the elections to the state assemblies are conducted. Already, the highest court of the country has directed that before September this year it should be completed, and I'm sure Government of India is in favor of that, and the Election Commission must be working already on that front, and I'm sure the elections will take place in all probability unless something big happens. And as far as statehood is concerned, it is immediately after the assembly elections. I think union government had from time to time on the floor of parliament have promised that they will consider granting at the appropriate time the statehood back, and which I think would be coming very soon. I would not be knowing exact time frame, but it will be coming. And I think I just want to mention here, I remember when I was DGP, I had the opportunity to be with the Honorable Prime Minister. At that time, I had actually come across a video coming from Pakistan instructing the terrorists to threaten people not to vote. I'm talking of 2017-18 when I was DGP, and I showed that video to Honorable Prime Minister. So that clearly indicates the intentions of the deep state of Pakistan. They don't want democracy to take roots here because they have denied these basic rights to their own people in Pakistan and POK in particular. So they that becomes a big grouse for people under their control. So the threatening instructions which come from there, that you must threaten the people, and that is today's voting, and before this the Srinagar polling was a befitting reply to the Pakistan's deep state's intentions.
Let's also hear it from Advocate Muzaffar Iqbal Khan. He is the spokesperson of the National Conference. Advocate Muzaffar, thank you for joining us. And your fair assessment of the number of people who have come out and voted this time around in Baramulla, a situation that was very similar in phenomenon when Srinagar saw voting percentage of record numbers in the last 26-27 years. Who do you attribute this? Who do you attribute this sudden change that has happened in the last 5 years in Kashmir, in Baramulla and Srinagar?
I agree, and it goes without saying with Mr. Khoda that earlier there used to be threats, there used to be dictation, and people used to feel secure while participating in any democratic process. The second thing which I'll attribute, as you have asked me, that all socio-political organizations did not give any boycott call. The third thing which I personally feel has contributed in rise of these voters, that is basically this election has taken place after a lot of upheavals, political upheavals in the Union Territory, the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. Snatching of the state, degrading it into two union territories, bifurcating it, and non-holding of the assembly election for last 5 years was one of the reasons that the people, those who have suppressed their emotions for such a long period of time, they found a time to express their wishes, express their, resentment.
But my point over here is that when Jammu and Kashmir was not bifurcated into two union territories, when abrogation Article 370 had not happened, and when there were political parties like the National Conference and the PDP who used to form government, why wouldn't people come out in large numbers and show support for your parties? Why would there be single-digit percentage voter turnouts that used to come? Why wouldn't people come out and vote in favor of the political party back then?
How can you say, or how can I say, or anybody else can say it, that they have come out not in our support? I hope that they
I'm
have
not
come
saying,
again
I'm
in
not
our
saying.
sport.
I'm simply happy.
I hope,
See, my point is, I'm simply happy, and it's heartening to see that there are more people who are participating in this exercise, which then
definitely, you are right.
reinstates our
You are
belief in democracy. My only question over here
definitely.
is that why did it not happen 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
It has been a continuous process, as Mr. Khuda has said on your show, that at a time the percentage was very low, but it was subsequently, it keeps on rising continuously. And it is directly proportional to reduce of the threats of the militants and influence of those socio-political organizations which were against the democratic process. So it is directly proportional to that. And it keep on rising continuously.
Do you feel terrorism has reduced drastically in Jammu and
Modus
Kashmir?
operandi has changed. I cannot say it. I cannot say
I
it
mean,
that
you
it has
being a
reduced
citizen,
drastically.
you being a resident of Jammu and Kashmir, you know how the situation is on the ground. Stone pelting incidents have come to a nil. There has been reduced terrorist incidents that have taken place. There has been separatism that has been culled. Do you think this has been one of the reasons, if not the primary reason, why there is peace right now in Jammu and Kashmir? People feel safer to come out and cast their vote, and they feel that they will not be threatened on the street or with a gun on their head, and perhaps then forced to go back to their homes and shut themselves and not participate in the electoral process?
In fact, it depends upon the campaign. Normally, what happened in Jammu and Kashmir in the past elections, that this election, parliamentary election, there was no vigorous campaign as well. Unlike the present election, in which every party has vociferously and vigorously campaigned in Jammu and Kashmir, that has also contributed. So far as other query which you have put to me is that people feel secure. That is not true. Only yesterday, you must have heard that in South Kashmir, there were 2 simultaneous attacks. There is a change in modus operandi of the terrorists. They may not be targeting this ordinary civilian, unlike in the past, but they are doing targeted killings. I condemn the killing of a
worker
sarpanch.
that has been killed, an ex-sarpanch.
Yes, I condemned it.
BJP worker that has been killed. There were 2 terrorists, two tourists that were attacked.
Yes, I condemned it with all force at my back, that it is totally inhuman. Everybody has a right to join any political party. If a person joins BJP, he has as good a right as I have to join the national conference. So killing a person is totally condemnable. It is not acceptable in any civilized society. But they may not be guided, or they may not be commanded by my feelings.
Okay.
And their modus operandi has completely changed. If you see Rajouri Punch area, we have more than 150 soldiers who have been martyred there. They have offered their supreme sacrifice in Punch Rajouri, which was a relatively calm and peaceful area. So they keep on changing the modus operandi. So to say that
so according to you,
there is
terrorism has not gone down in Jammu and Kashmir?
No, it has not gone.
So
it is
the
only
figures
change
at
of modus.
This point in time that are being provided by the center are fudged. All right.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying they are fudged.
Can I comment on
They have
this?
changed.
Can I comment on this?
They have changed their modus operandi.
Yes, please.
This is Amit here. Can I comment on this?
Yes, Amit. Yes.
See, while I have immense respect for Khan Saab, he is one of the sanest voice that comes from National Conference. But unfortunately, he has to speak in the party line, not his own heart out. The truth is that the numbers were low in Kashmir, one definitely because there were terrorist threats. And his attempt of calling the separatist organization a socio-political, socio-cultural organization continues to demonstrate the mindset of National Conference, which continues to believe in harboring the elements which push for the separatist agenda. And the elections were rigged not by by like 87, where they went and took over the booths and the polling stations. They rigged elections by tuning in these separatist organizations and the terrorist organizations to give the level of buzz that suits them. So in 2014, you may have a decent number given the Kashmir numbers, and suddenly in 2019, because it did not suit them, they enforced the Bandh in a more vigorous way. So that there was a nexus between these terrorist organizations, the so-called socio-cultural organizations, which technically were the separatist organizations handled by Rawalpindi and Islamabad, which used to manipulate the election so that it suited certain political parties in Jammu and Kashmir, and largely which was the National Conference and National Conference's association with these terror groups is quite well known.
Yeah.
What is important now today is that people of Jammu and Kashmir has gone out and sidelined every threat that is coming their way, and that is if they are saying that this election is a reply to abrogation of Article 370, yes, it is a reply to abrogation of Article 370 in a positive way, because 2019 abrogation has seen only positive things that have come out of Kashmir.
Okay.
It has not. If today you are speaking of numbers, it is because there has been abrogation of Article 370 and people have come out to reaffirm the positiveness of abrogation of Article 370.
Okay, all right. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.